President Ibrahim Traore. Justice, equality, self-determination. It's the motivator here. And now you're here to experience another inspirational podcast. And welcome to you. Welcome. Can you help us out? We need to secure 100,000 new subscribers to the channel. Have you subscribed? Have you shared copies of links to this video with your friends, your network, the wider community? Help us to secure 100,000 new subscribers to our YouTube channel. I'm going to bring my guest into the studio now, I think. Let's get him into the studio now. Oh, one is in, and I'm going to go for my second guest. Oh, he's playing his instrument. Oh, my God, there you go. 1 second, let me bring the other guest in as well. Let's see if we can get him in. Oh, there he is. This is a young man. Okay. Good morning. Good morning to you both. How are you? How are you?
Morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good. As you can see, as I prepared for this particular podcast, the preparation is another one of those inspirational experiences to study the history of the country that we now call Burkina Faso. It's truly been an inspirational experience, an eye-opener, and further insight into the history that the majority of Africans, whether it be on the continent or indeed here in Europe or indeed in the Caribbean and the Americas, are not taught. We need to put that right. And today, we begin that process of putting it right. I've got two very interesting young men. Okay. I can say young men because I'm somewhat older than them.
Yes, that's okay.
There you go. Oh, there you go. I had the pleasure to speak with them earlier this week, and it was truly inspirational. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves first of all, and I might, introducing themselves, I'm going to ask you to give your name, the organization that you belong to, and also conclude by telling us, sharing with the audience, who's inspired you to be the man you are today? I'm going to go to Mr. Chairman. I'm going to say Mr. Chairman. He will give his name in a moment. Mr. Chairman first. So, after you. Go ahead.
Hello, everyone. My name is Wendpayangde Alain Rouamba. I'm from Burkina Faso. I'm the
Beautiful
chairman.
name. Beautiful name.
Yeah. I'm the chairman of the community in here. I live in Bristol, but I spent 10 years in London, and now I'm based in Bristol. And the person who's inspired me is this man here.
Oh, Thomas Sankara, absolutely, yes.
Yeah, with his teaching and his motivation. And one thing he always said is, dare to invent your own future.
Yes.
And that's stuck into my mind, growing as a young man.
Yes, we are going to discuss more of this, if I may. Can I, and forgive me, I as a child, I was only taught a single language. And whilst I can speak a number of languages, I don't speak them very well. So I'm gonna, I know I can hear others going to lament what I'm about to say. Can I refer to you as being Alan?
Yeah, I think it's much easier here.
I'm embarrassed to say that for now, right? Alan, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. And you've correctly identified the man that influenced myself also as a young man in my 20s, you know. We're going to talk more about this. But the other young man who I had the pleasure to speak with earlier this week, you know, I've got a son who I'm extremely proud of. Listening to you speak earlier this week, I was very proud of you. I'm going to ask you first of all, I don't want to embarrass you, don't worry. I'm going to ask you just to introduce yourself. Please give your name, the organization, and please share with us who most inspired you. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Piga Suleiman Yamego, and so I'm also from Burkina Faso. I'm a research associate democratic politics at the University of Glasgow in Scotland right now. So I've been very involved in civil society movement in my country. So I really worked for promoting democracy, freedom of speech, and then trying to empower the youth in Burkina Faso for the last 20 years. And also I've been involved in a lot of civil society movement, trying to promote the ideas of Cheikh Anta Diop, Joseph Kizerbo, so that Africans, wherever you are, you have to appropriate and live your culture and your identity. So we did it in universities, high school, on TV for more than 15, 20 years. That was my life about that. So coming for that, so naturally, so those who inspire me, naturally, first, the one who inspired me is Cheikh Anta Diop. Cheikh Anta Diop, because of his deep knowledge and scientific way of proving that no matter where you are, as African, we can prove to the rest of the world what we bring to the world, and we are not like savage. And then to this knowledge, I translate it to Thomas Sankara, saying that bringing this knowledge to Thomas Sankara, this naivety of the revolution, this innocence, this love for the people, like bringing it to make some transformational change, right? Because Sheikh Anta Diop was more of researcher and intellectual. Sankara was more practitioner. And then the combination of two would have been the best leadership we needed for African to move forward in the diaspora. So that's what I inspired.
You see, people, I told you we'll be proud of him. Okay. I don't want to embarrass him, but I'll come back to you. Thank you, Tiga. That was an excellent introduction. Okay.
Yeah.
If I may go back, if I may, to Alan, because, of course, I noticed, Alan, when you came on a moment ago, you had an instrument in hand. You were, as it were, what were you doing? Meditating? What were you doing there? God, come on, first of all.
Instrument here.
What is that?
It's an African harp.
Okay.
Called Ngoni, Kamale Ngoni. It's used in Burkina Faso. It's called the young man harp.
Ooh,
So,
to charm the women. Yes. Oh my. Yes.
I'm also a musician, so I keep my instruments with me.
Wow.
I love traditional instruments, so yeah.
Okay.
I represent the culture all around the country, so I do
Okay.
schools, care homes, and hospitals. It's more like also music therapy and special needs schools, and also we do team buildings and cooperation with
Brilliant.
working with.
Okay, an African harp. Let's see it. We can't quite see it. Put it fully on the screen. We can't quite see it. That's it. If you, there he goes. That's it. That's it. That's it. They were mums and dad, boys and girls, young men and young women. Yeah, there you are, an African harp. And you teach people how to play this instrument as well, do you?
I do teaching as well. I do teaching schools. We use drums as well.
Okay. Brilliant.
This kind of instrument, yeah.
A man of many talents. Thank you, Alan. Thank you for that. But it was just useful to see that. I was almost tempted to ask you to play, but I'm conscious of time. But maybe another time we'll get you back just to play for us, because it's a bit of our cultural heritage. Again, not discussed sufficiently. But what I want to do before I go into the interview proper. You'd have noted in the intro video, I provide some context as to the country that is now called Burkina Faso. Okay, previously called Upper Volta. Okay, I couldn't, and I read through the research papers and historical documents. Is to identify a name for the area prior to European occupation. And I'm interested, because I've got possible names, because I said the Mossi Empire, but you can answer that question, because this will help both the boys and girls, the men and women who are ignorant like me, okay, and the wider African community to appreciate the richness of this part of the world. Who can respond to that question? What was the name prior to Upper Volta that was given by the European colonizers? Yeah. What was the name? Who can answer that question?
I'll let the researcher answer for you.
Yeah, naturally, yes. I mean, because before this empire was called Swagadogo, right? But the problem here is we have different rivers, right? We have the Volta rivers, and then so we have the lower one, we have the upper one, right? So this river, because this country was on the south side of the Volta, so they call it the upper Volta. So, otherwise it's not. It has nothing to do with our historical background, because our historical background, we have a name called for it. That was the Ouagadougou Empire before.
Ouagadougou Empire. Thank you, and that's well said. But of course, the name, of course, is a result of that European conference in 1875-79, in which they then carved up our continent and therefore took ownership. Okay, very good. Okay. Tell us a little bit more about this empire, because as I read through the research papers and history documents, it seems to be made up of many ethnic groups, many identities. Let's give us a flavour of the ethnic group, the identities that make up this great empire, which still associate themselves with being Burkina Fasians.
Exactly. And this is great, and that's what makes the beauty of this country, because it's a country of people. And even Thomas Sankara, what he gave the country of upright men, because we're going to reach there, he take it from the origin of the people. Yes, for example, it is known worldwide that people from this area, wherever they go, they have to finish their life in the motherland. My dad, for example, lived in Ivory Coast for more than 50, 60 years, but he just passed away in the village home, because he said, I have to go back home and I have to finish it. This is the idea of our country. So this area before, we come from the Ghana, right? There's an area in Ghana, neighboring Ghana, called Gambaga, where our ancestors were. So before the first Mosi people, which represent 50% of the population, come to the area right now called Burkina Faso, we have some ethnic group existing there. Now we call them Bisa, Gurunsi, Bobo, all those different ethnic groups, they're residing in this area. And they were called, they were not really, they were free minds. So that's why we can teach the West, and that's what I do here, that democracy didn't start from this side, because there were freedom of expression, freedom from oppression, and they refused some kind of leadership, that hierarchy. So that's why it was.
Forgive me for interrupting there, because I know you say these words with almost matter of fact, but these are significant. So exactly. I know I'm going to ask you just to repeat what you said, but say it slower, because there are those who are watching and learning. Democracy started in Africa. Explain again. Just say that again very slowly so it's heard. Yeah, go ahead.
Exactly. For example, when you take these people, this group of people, they were called Géronto Democrats. In French, means that the early democracy. It means anytime a decision has to be taken in this society, it should involve all the different parties. And they have the older people under a very big tree. They sit around and then they discuss and they make choices. So these people, they really cherish their freedom and independence. They refuse all forms of oppressions, all forms of domination. And they do exist today. Even today, in the country right now in Burkina Faso, we know them are being free and independent people as ethnic group. It never disappeared. So, and that's what was their strength and the weakness. The strength is they were the pioneer of democracy, but the weakness is they were not centralized, organized as a strong state with army, with rules. Making when the first one, the Mosi people came from Ghana, when they arrived, they were very well organized, warriors, stronger, so they could dominate people on this area. But even there, what is very interesting in the way people tell the story about building the new state, when it was first a woman. Again, it shows that in our tradition as African, woman has always have a very high position in our society. So we don't speak about emancipation of the women in Africa. We talk about rehabilitation of women in Africa, because they already have rehabilitation.
hold on a second. Again, you say it as a matter of fact. Slow it down for us. Because believe it or not, having lived in the West for so long, what you're revealing is that a woman's place in the society has always been... Go ahead, say again.
It has always been higher or equal to men. Women has never been lower than men in our society. They lost this during the colonization and Islamization of the country. But in African tradition, they always been. And even us, we always belong. Alan can convince. We always say you have to fear your mother, like kind of, you want the mother blessing and power compared to your dad. Even in terms of kingdom, right, how to inherit from the kingdom, we have the woman, the mother of the king, the throne.
Yes.
She always plays a very important role.
Yes.
So that's why even when the Mosi were warriors coming, ask Alan, who is our mothers? The ancestor is Yenenga, right? She's a woman.
Yenenga, yeah.
Exactly.
It's the woman warrior.
A woman warrior.
The woman warrior. It is the origin of the strong empire of Ouagadougou. But to show again, interestingly, the way the framing of this story, they want to say, look, we come from Ghana, we came in this area, but we didn't oppress the people staying there. They say the Yenenga got married with one of the native of the area. It's a Bisa, who is a kind of a hunter that he met. That's from this person that his son came, is a Ouedraogo. Right. I think you are Compaoré, right? Or you are Ouedraogo, Alan?
Rouamba.
Eh?
Rouamba.
Rouamba, okay, yeah. Because next we can discuss about the names, because I did a TV show about the origin and the meaning of different names. Yeah.
So I might quiz him in a moment about that, but because you said it as if we all know what that means or what is significant of that name. But so I'm going to slow you down because it's really important. You are a rich source of information, and there are millions out there who are unaware. So you've used a descriptive of people to which we have little or no knowledge, and I'll look up my references in a moment. But I don't. So I'm going to ask, and please, sorry to interrupt you there, TK. Just ask. Your peoples, Alan, you describe them, but who are they? Just give us a flavour of who are they? What's their tradition?
The tradition, the people. I'm from the Mosi tribe, which is called, the language is called More, and the people are called the Mosi. As he was trying to explain to you, as the reference of the Mosi is a queen from a princess, we call her, a princess who ruled from northern Ghana, a place called Gwambag. The place actually today called Ouagadougou. We meet a local, a Bisa hunter that was there, and together they actually like get together and had their first son. And the first son was given the name Ouedraogo.
Ah, that's where it comes from, right? Okay.
Yes, and the name Ouedraogo means just simply male the male horse, because she was making reference to her horse that rode her all the way to this place that he met his husband. So
thank you for that. And you said it very well. You said that very well. I know you're a teacher. I can tell you teach. Thank you for that. But that's a really good summary. Let me go back to TK, because he was in the flow, but I interrupted him. Forgive me. It just that allows others to understand each of the words you're using. So they're writing it down, and I'm sure they're using their search engines right now, looking up each word. So continue, TK.
So that's interesting. So to continue with what my brother Alan says, so now you see the idea is to say, as warriors, driven by a woman coming from Ghana, they get on that area called Burkina Faso in 1050, right? And 1050, that's why you put it well, 11th century. And then from there, they start to have the different kingdoms in the area. They're going to become the Mosi Empire. Sometimes people say kingdom. There are very different discussions about that. And what is interesting about the establishment of this, first of all, they have to try to work with the existing communities like Bisa, others, because they needed to build a nation with a unified identity. It has never been easy because those people, as I said before, they are naturally free and independent. So they always resisted. Even right now, if you go to Bobo-Dioulasso, you see those people always feel frustrated about the centralized state of Ouagadougou. I was there, I spent 2 or 3 years with them, and we have the talk, and I do understand the idea of freedom. And they laughed me because I said, I know you are naturally free, you are naturally dependent, but look, let's move forward, right? So this is something very important that you need to know about these people, right? So when they created it, they put in place what they call a constitutional monarchy. And there again, there is a very different with the absolute monarchy in the Western countries and others. Because the Mosi Kingdom, where they put it in place, they organize the different institutions in a very stable way. Meaning, first, from the way they have a kind of what they call the big, like in the US, right? The electoral concept, right? The big one. And they are responsible of electing the future king. But it is said that before the king was born, everything that he's supposed to do was already written, meaning the king reigned and the tradition governed the states. So within this, there is a need for this king, the Mogonaba, to be very honest with the people. There are a lot of values where the individual within the society have to be free. And when I'm writing a paper about the democracy, when I'm making a comparative analysis between the democracy in Africa and the one in the West, and I said for us, it's a kind of a democracy nested within solidarities where the individual's freedom is contingent to the group thriving, being stable, and harmony. But here, the individual has the free to be over their society. So I can do whatever I want as I want. But in Africa, in our main state, what I have to do shouldn't harm my neighbor, right?
Indeed.
So it's a kind of a Nash equilibrium, because you said the economist, right? It's a kind of Nash equilibrium, right? I need to consider the interest of my neighbor before to maximize the group one. So meaning that the Nash equilibrium ideas is not new for our constitutional monarchy, and mainly in Burkina Faso. Right, so this one, the key
Can I
three
just ask,
words.
just to pause there, because again, there's a lot of information packed into that.
Yeah.
There's tremendous information, and I want to capture as much as I can, because I want to go to the politics, more contemporary politics in a moment. So you describe the monarch as being the Mogonaba, is that what you say?
Yes, the Monaba, yes.
Why is it called Mogonaba? What's the significance of that name?
Well, yeah, Mogonaba means the Sun Emperor, as a translation, the Sun Emperor. So the Mogonaba oversee every region there is a king that is nominated to represent his people. But all these kings represent pay allegiance to the Mogonaba. So you got the Sun Mogonaba, Ouagadougou, but all the other regions have their kings.
I understand you.
That's
a parallel would be, as a word, like the paramount king, as a word. It'd be a comparison.
The king of the world, right? The king of the world has this kind of domination of everyone.
He saw himself as the king of the Sun Emperor.
Thank you. It's good, because I know the children are watching, you see, so please continue, TK. So you're at the point at which you're now describing how they respect democracy and the principles on which underscore the democracy. Just continue from that point.
Exactly. Because this is very important for people to know that democracy, or understanding the freedom, respect of life, and having some stable institutions is not something new for Africans. Africans do have it. So what's happened here for 1050 to 1896, this kingdom remained the most stable one. And then if you read all the first colonial masters, those who went there, they wrote...
Hold on. We don't say colonial masters. The enslavers, the colonized, would never call them masters. We're not going to give them power.
Exactly.
Not here.
I use the word for pedagogical reason, but yeah, I agree. Thank you. That's right. Yeah, these people, when they go, right? So first of all, they did two things, and that's where the framing is important. And as African, we need to open our mind. First, when they wrote to the king, like to the king in France and in the UK, they said, we found a place where the people is one of the most populous area in West Africa. They were very extremely rich. They were producing cotton, they were exporting gold, and people were secured and they're working freely. It's complex. It's easy to see the people were very feeling safe in this area. That was a narrative up to 1896. In starting in the 90s, the narrative was this area is very poor, extremely poor, that is not really viable as a place. So for this reason, we need to split this area between Niger, Burkina Faso, and Ivory Coast, and Mali. We're going to talk about it future. So meaning, from the beginning, before they landed and colonized this area, it was before the Mosi Kingdom, it was a rich area. After colonizing it and destroying everything, it became area where we can't, it's not viable, we have to divide this area. So meaning this, when we combine this, and the document do exist, I have the written documents, the proof from them, meaning they destroy the stability of a very wealthy area where people were civilized, well organized, and they were respecting life. And this is something that we need to point to the generations. Africans were not barbaric. No. They were not like eating human beings like people used to say. They were civilized, well-dressed. We were trading with them. We're exporting gold. Burkina Faso was exporting gold and cotton to many African countries, West, and also to Yemen. We're importing a lot of goods also from them, right? So this kingdom works like that. But what's happened here is in the 1896, because most of the different empire around, Ghana Empire, Sudan and Mali already got colonized and destroyed, they now try to fight against the Burkina Faso kingdom, the Mosi kingdom. That happened with the French in the 1896. And even then, and that was the beauty of this kingdom, when they fought and the Naba is mean the king elephant. Wobugo mean elephant, like big, powerful. Yes, he had to run away to Ghana, where he died now. And for more than 2 to 3 years, he have to resist, let's say 5 years, you have to resist the colonization. But what happened, and this is where we have to call for unity in Africa, it's extremely important. When they arrived in the constitution of the Mogul, they call what they call the Namco. Alan should know that. They say once you've been washed with the Namco, meaning the Namco mean you've been giving power, right, to run a country, is forever. No one can take it from you unless the society itself decide that you're not worth it and they take it away from you. When the French arrived, when they chased this person, they tried to dominate the area. They failed to, because people were still committed to the king. Though he wasn't there in Ouagadougou, he was in the different thing, organizing resistance. They tried the best they could. What did they do? They say we need to understand the tradition of those people to understand how it's going to be possible for us to dominate this area. That's when they realized until the new electoral commission is going to choose another king who is going to be given the Namco, the people will never comply. That's when they have to look at, among all the people, those who disagreed, have decent grievance with the former president, and they found 2 of his brothers, the former president of the electoral commissions, those who were frustrated by the former governance, and then they found among them coalitions against Nabawopko, and that's when they have to put on place a new king who is a brother of the other one, and then now it becomes officially the new king, making the other one less legitimate. Meaning what? If we have to get power or we have to fight as Black people, we need to be strong enough. And we have to work together and we have to strengthen we need to identify clearly that we have one common enemy, and this enemy could never be another Black person.
There you go. Whoa. Whoa. You're a natural Pan-Africanist, if I may say so. Yes.
I love it. I have no choice.
Beautifully and eloquently described. And there are many who will be watching this, who are going to simmer on this. And I want to pursue this line, but I want to get into contemporary times. We might have to have you both back again, because there's much information here to be shared with the people. But I'm conscious that I want to focus now on Thomas Sankara, and then move on to is contemporary, of course, Ibrahim Traore. Okay, so who wishes to first of all give us an introduction to Thomas Sankara? What does he stand for, and why is he such a memorable figure? Who can respond initially? Who can respond? Can I go to you, Mr. Chairman, or not? First of all, you start.
Just have a brief response to that. I would say is Thomas Sankara for us is the freedom fighter, the one who actually restored us our dignity and our integrity, the one who actually led.
Hold on. Forgive me for interrupting, because you're using important words. The one who restored, did you say our dignity? What did you say?
Yeah, our dignity and our integrity.
There you are. In dignity and our integrity. I'm going to say it again loud. Our dignity and our integrity. Yes. Powerful words. Please continue.
The one who laid the foundation for Burkina Faso to actually stand tall and upright and take his own freedom. And I was just saying with his quote is to dare to invent our future. And with those words, it resonates with us today. And as he said before, he knew he was going to pass away, to die. But his own word was like, kill Sankara today and millions of Sankara will be born tomorrow. And I think we are the generation that he was talking about. And we are here again to carry on the struggle and the revolution that we have.
Yes. I'm going to affirm it. Yes. No, I'm going to say it loud. It needs to resonate with the spirit of the people who are watching us today. They must understand it's in this spirit. There we go. Yes. Say it with affirmity. Yes. Yes. It really is important. Please, go ahead.
And I'm not going to say long. I'm going to say this is what it was saying. We are the heir of the revolution. And for our homeland or death, we should overcome. Absolutely. So I think it's word. And this was ring with us and carry us everywhere we go. So we carry the flag of Burkina Faso was proud. And and wherever we...
You've said it. And I want to note, of course, that today, the 21st of December, he would have been 75 if he had lived. Yep.
Exactly.
So we remember him. Sorry. Go ahead, Tige. Yep. Go ahead, Tige. Now, let's build upon what has just been said on what he means to the people. But can you now just relate back into what he actually did during his tenure? Go ahead.
Exactly. I mean, so what is important with the case of Thomas Sankara, to better understand what Thomas Sankara represents for a country like Burkina Faso, we need to understand where we're coming from as Burkina Faso. Don't forget that in the 80s, in the 74, we had one of the biggest famine in the countries in the 70s.
Yes, I remember.
And then so Burkina Faso, after being splitted, right, because it became very weak, because a big part of the country went to Ivory Coast, and then so the country became even smaller after reunited in 1947 after the World War II. So then the Godfather, there are two very important people that we need to know that they are very important for the country up to Thomas Sankara. You have the Godfather, was in Coulibaly. No one knows him, but he died in 1958 before independence.
Forgive me, Tige. Yeah, what's his name? That's the name. Yes.
His name is Daniel Weze Coulibaly. He's the most Pan-Africanist among the farmers, the godfathers of African independence. He was in Senegal, Saint Louis. He even trained more than 3,000 of all the revolution Africans, like all the African secretary, all those people that do respect him a lot. And when he came back to Burkina Faso, he tried to build the new Burkina Faso, what was called the Upper Volta. And he said one day, because he died in Paris, but he was fighting for the country. He died and what he said before dying, he said that these people, they are extremely hardworking and very honest. Now they are struggling, they are going through hardship, but if you are able to mobilize those people around a common goal, they will be able to build a pyramid like those of Egypt. And years after, when Thomas Sankara arrived, what he did was to mobilize people. By mobilizing people, there are things that he said. And that's the most important thing that we need to take away from Sankara. Sankara said, whatever you think it's possible, it's possible. And this thing, forget about all the other thing and I think, because imagine in the context in the 80s where the country was poor, a lot of coup d'etat, people know, no one knows exactly where to go. We are seen in West Africa like the most poor people in the world. But this person said you can't. And what's happened, I have a friend, he built a school. They come in and say, we want a school in our neighborhood. They say, that's perfect, guys, build it. And they start building it. You know, they said there's a village. They said, no, we want dam. He said, that's perfect. You want dam. You have to start building the dam, right? And then what was important, it was very difficult as economists to evaluate the cost, the economic value of Thomas Sankara regime, because many people did a lot of things for free for themselves, right? He said, in a village, said they wanted a dam. He said, you have to do that, so do it. I remember one thing, because during the reign of Blaise Compaoré, they tried to cancel the memory of Thomas Sankara. And I was among the young people, young generation, tried to promote the idea of Thomas Sankara within the villages. And I went in with them and we show a documentary on the life of Thomas Sankara. I'm in touch with the guy who did the documentary. He's somewhere hidden, somewhere doing some research. And when he showed the video to women, and she stand up and she started crying and she said, yes, I remember days when we were younger. And then I said, what do you remember? I remember that we feel like we're drugged. We took some drug and we feel like we can do whatever we want and we can country, right? And this thing, we call it in economic incentives, right? They are very important for foster growth. And that's what Thomas Sankara brings. That's why in a poor country, we're able to educate people where almost 85% of people couldn't read and write. He was able to double it, right? Move from 10 to more than 20% of people are able to read, right? In a country where most of people were just going to hospital, like in a traditional one, you have to make some reform for people to go to hospital to get some kind of education, right? So in a country where in the 74, where people couldn't have anything to eat, the president Thomas Sankara have to solve the issue, making people kind of self-sufficient in food. It's inimaginable, like in less than 10 or 5 years, right? But this is because the young boy understood that he has to be very close to the people. He goes to see to the people, he talk to the people, he use the language. And one of the beautiful things that he said when almost at the moment in 86, 87, when he realized that people were almost exhausted, he said, I think I'm not really understood by my people, right? I think I was going too fast, but they didn't get it. So I feel like it's better for me to do one step with my people than 100 steps without them, right? But what was very interesting is because it felt like I have to go faster because the imperialist is not going to let me finish what I want to do. And
hold on, slow down there. I think it's really, you said it, the imperialist will not let him finish the work he's engaged in.
It was not. Yeah.
And
this is not.
And we need to use the term imperialist, which is for us academics, is a good coded word. Here on the Demotivatorshow, we are here to provide information that the masses can understand. I know what you mean by imperialist, but I'm assuring you the majority of those who are watching do not completely understand that language. Explain what you mean by the imperialist.
Okay, the imperialism are the big power, right? These countries like the UK where I'm living right now, the countries like US, like France, and mainly for us in the context of Africa, mainly France. And to let you give a small kind of thing about why it did it, just look at what happened in Cameroon in 1958. So, and it is written, and I think it's a call also for Black Africans. I think we need now to step up and look all what they did, and then to try to sue the different government. You know what happened is, if they still feel comfortable after killing our leaders, they write the memoir and they explain in detail how they kill our leaders, and they are comfortable with that. So, and I did a conference in the French Institute in the 2005 and 6, where I told them, you are not well placed to talk about colonization, immigrations, and all the things about Africans, because in 1958 in Cameroon, Ruben Umniobe was fighting. I'm telling you the detail of how they chased the guy and they killed him, cut the people's head, and then put
That's
it
right.
on the road to discourage people. These are
That's right.
facts, right, about
Yes.
how they kill the leadership. And as
Yes.
Thomas Sankara, as a leader, is aware of all those things. He's aware that because of the oil, someone like Ken Saro-Wiwa is going to be hung up in Nigeria, right? He knows that. He knows that, like, if Mumwe or all those guys are going to be poisoned in Belgium, right? He knows that. So knowing that by fighting for the right of your people, you are going to be killed until you do what the other one, Thomas Sankara said, look, I have to go very fast. That's why 83, they did the revolution. 84, he said, no, it doesn't make sense for my country to be called Apevota. Apevota doesn't mean anything for us. But our people, from the issue, the way we resisted, with the way they fought, we are upright people. We have to be called by the what we are. And by calling us the way we are is not just to put it in papers, it's to live the way we are. And you know the traditional outfit, I just try to, I don't know, but I will talk with the chairman if we can get it. We call it the Faso Danfani. I'm looking for it because I came straight from South Korea, so I don't have it. Because they call it in our language Sankara Arif, right? So I think chairman can tell the story about the Sankara
Come
Arif
on,
story.
please, Mr. Chairman, please. Yes.
One thing is intuitive. That's like the clothes I'm wearing now. It's cotton made on Burkina Faso. So he took it upon himself to promote the local product of Burkina Faso. So all the ministry who used to wear ties and suits, he said no more of that, no more suits and ties anymore. We're going to dress traditionally.
Absolutely.
Say
Gosh.
the best way for us to be free and feel proud of ourselves is to dress also, with our traditional clothes. So he brought this traditional clothes even into the government today. The majority of the young people I see over there are always wearing the traditional clothes.
Okay.
Yeah. And this is
So
important, right? In the context of African, mainly the French one, where having your name, because it gives you the African name, right?
That's
And then
right.
exactly. But to tell you that years back, and you're well aware of that, the people were not proud of saying my name is
Indeed.
something.
Yes.
My name is
That's right.
Iga. Iga mean granite, my local language in More. But before, I would rather say my name is P. Suleiman Yamego instead of saying the Piga because people are ashamed of the name. People can't understand this. I did a lot of TV show to explain the beauty of names, right? What it means. So what I'm saying here is, so when people even dressing as an African will feel like you are barbaric, right? And you are backward, while wearing like an Europeans with tie and things. So it has to change the mindset, the way we perceive ourselves. Be proud of
Indeed.
having your own name, proud of wearing the dress made by your people.
Indeed.
Eat the
Yes.
food of your people, what you produce home. It's more about, look, we forget about the upper volta, which is more French. Let's go back to where we were before and just reconnect with
Absolutely.
our African roots and rebuild an
Absolutely.
identity that makes us proud of being Burkina Faso. That's a
Absolutely.
big meaning of that. And this is something
Absolutely.
very important. Yeah.
Very, very
Yeah. So,
important.
yeah.
Beautifully said. I'm from the Caribbean. I can absolutely relate to this. And, I have an English name. Okay, you look at me, there's no way you
Yeah.
connect that English name with me. And look, bless my parents, don't worry, bless my parents, but you understand the history of your people who were transported under the chattel enslavement, of course, not being permitted to practice our traditional culture, our traditional practices, not allowed to speak our languages, no, and not allowed to have our names. Okay, otherwise you'd be killed, you'd be brutalized, you'd be shamed. You'd be in ways that I cannot even begin to describe on a show of this type at this time of the day. The brutality was coarse-kit in so many ways. It's disgusting, utterly disgusting. But after a few generations, can you imagine? Look at me, cannot speak a traditional African language. And I cannot tell you how shameful that is for me to say that. I'm going to say I'm shamed by that, and I'm putting that right now. But I say to all those from the Caribbean and the Americas, okay, we must Sankofa, of course, go back, remember, we must find the roots that we hail from so that we can reconnect with the tree, yeah? Because the tree is deep. Ours is the biggest and the deepest tree. Yes, absolutely. Please,
Exactly.
please.
And this is very important. What you just raised right now is important and open a gate for something very important that we discussed. Is that what happened to the Caribbean, to you guys, happened also. And this was a kind of a forced labor. There it was slave trade, but our ancestors lived what they call the forced labor. Me, I remind my dad will remember before. I'm sure that Rwanda dad also talked about that. They were forced not to speak our local languages in our countries. They were forced not to be named of that's why people are ashamed of it, like the kind of cancel culture, even when they were there. And this has been the forced labor was kind of stopped in 1946, 56 in this area. So it's very recent that they cancel the forced labor in there. So what I'm saying here is the way it was an international system that came from here. It's kind of, let's say, multinational of slave trader, starting from the ship's yard of Glasgow here that I know, moving around the world. And what they tried to do, and I was reading a book where they tried to say this was a slave trade. I say no, it's not a slave trade, because a trade supposes that the one who is selling the slave is consent, he can set the price and is very happy of it. And we can see that the institutions within the country works. But what happened in the Mosi Kingdom, this wasn't a slave trade. No one sold that. They put their own system by white people. They recruited decent black people there. That was true.
Yes.
They trained them and they used them against empires to capture the enemy and then give it to them, and they brought it to the other side. So, but at the end of the day, it was a white institutions, like a multinational, established in Africa, exploiting. And after that, what they did was simple. For you and me not to be together to fight for the common enemy, they have to make us be enemy, right? We reframe the issue saying, look, you know what? Your people in Africa, they sold you. But they forget to tell you that when you were enslaved, like in the slave trade, being forced to work in the sugar cane in Jamaica, everywhere in the US, at the same time, the same African on the same soil, they were in the forced labor, working in farm for the same white people. And then we, instead of understanding the common enemy is the white, we believe that it's between Caribbean and Africa. No, it's not that. We are all the victim of the system. We need to come together and fight.
Brilliantly said. These are de-brainwashing podcast sessions, okay? You've now put it into context and the impact of Thomas Sankara. I now need to come to today. Now, I have to say, when I started my journey and looking at this interesting country called Burkina Faso, this Ibrahim Traore, okay. First of all, I noted how he came into power, and I was worried by that until I did the research. And it was pretty clear why he felt he needed to come into power. So, if I understand it, and I'm going to let you both respond to me, okay, I set it out in the intro video. So those of you who have not watched the intro video, I will play it before this podcast to close, but there we go. I think it was in 2022. There was 2 military coups in 1 year. Yeah, in January of that year, a coup led by Lieutenant Colonel Dambier, is that right, Dambier, seized power.
Damiba.
Thank you. Seized power and deposed President Kabore. Yeah. But in September of that year, he's then ousted by Captain Ibrahim Traore, who said that the second coup was necessary because Damiba was unable to deal with the insurgency that was affecting the country. I'm now going to say President Ibrahim Traore is now the youngest head of state in the world, and he's engaged in outstanding works. Over to you, gentlemen, who wishes to give us a running commentary on what the president of Burkina Faso has done since taking power in 2022. Please, over to you. Who wishes to go first? Alain, the chairman first, of course, please.
Yeah, chairman first.
for me, I would say that as yourself, when this was first taking power, I was kind of worried because the country was. I was glad that at least there was a civilian who was there, who was being elected, Rock Mark Christian Kabore, and then coup d'état was done to him, and after that is two consecutive coup d'état that follow. So I was kind of worried. I didn't know what to expect in that case. And slowly, we watch it from far away. So the work that was being done and his first interview and the way he spoke on and the measure he have taken, slowly, it's hard to convince me.
Yes.
So because I'm not actually there, I'm also following it to the media right now of what have been done. The best thing I could say is like he carried out the work that all the big work plan that was actually started in Burkina. He take it up on himself to finish all the good job. So now today is big roads being built. There is the refinery, the gold refinery, stopping like the wealth of the country going out and actually using that to build the country is a very, very good thing. So I would say I think he got everything, looking back to history and what was, we were talking about. He have all the elements in his hand to do good and to do well, which is already is already going. So only the future can tell. We what we want is the peace in the country, and that's what he's doing now. Is actually said that when he first took the power, he said, "I don't want to be called president because I didn't come here to take the seat over as a president. I came here to help fight the terrorism as a military." And to actually put my country in a good place.
Yes.
And later on, because of what he have done and the work he have done, is the people who actually push him to claiming the title president.
Thank you.
So I
Thank
hope
you.
that all things that is doing well, he will carry on and keep on doing it to the best of his ability.
Thank you for
But
that.
it's hard being.
I know. I understand. It is interesting because it's part of my research, looking at and understanding the principles on which he operates. Of course, it's justice, equality, and self-determination, or key
And then,
words.
yes.
And if I may, before you come in, I did want to just quote an African proverb, which it seems to be put this one into some context. Let me put this out the way. Okay. An African proverb is this: if we stand tall, it is because we stand on the shoulders of many ancestors. This proverb teaches us the importance of studying the past to derive lessons from it for purpose of shaping our future. It reminds us that we are who we are because of those who've come before us. Praise be.
Yeah.
Let me go to this wonderful young man. Okay, TK. Now tell us. The chairman's put it into some context, and he expressed my initial reservations that this is not a coup in 1 year, but in order for the president to win the confidence of the people, he has to deliver. I understand politics. He has to deliver on the needs, those basic needs of the men and women, the elders and the children in that society.
Exactly.
Please tell us more about his achievements to date, and what are and give us an appreciation of some of the strategic changes he's made to the relationship of Burkina Faso and the surrounding countries, particularly ECOWAS and other places. Go ahead.
That's very interesting. I mean, what is very interesting with being contemporary with people is that it's always always have this kind of opposition or contradiction point of view, right? But what is important first, I want to put it like that. Let's put it in context, right? First of all, in 2014, there was a very big insurgency in the country where we changed the former president, which was Blaise Compaoré. And Blaise Compaoré was the one who killed Thomas Sankara. We know that. So for more than 27 years. So people were really exhausted with this way of running the country and they needed change. So many of them went
Forgive me for interrupting. Forgive me for interrupting, but it's really important. What you just described is the reason why who killed Sankara. Okay,
exactly.
And as I read this, I was astonished why he gave a reason why he did it. He said, and if I put it on the screen, I'm going to put it on the screen because it's really is important for others to understand this, because a bit of psychology which still affects our people in the Caribbean and United States of America as well, I might add. But I just want to put it into, he says, you read it on the left-hand, or my left-hand side, Thomas Sankara was president from 1983 into his assassination in 1987 in a coup organized by Compaoré. Now, this is the reason he gave. One who said the reason for the coup was that Sankara had jeopardized foreign relations with former colonial powers and neighboring Ivory Coast. So once in power, he reversed Sankara's previous economic policies. Wow. Please continue now, because that's my gosh.
I mean, the assassination of Thomas Sankara is it's very complex. So because you have the CIA involved, you have the DGSP France, you have also Gaddafi said to be involved. So sometimes people don't understand, but Gaddafi, our leadership, was involved in the assassination of Sankara. So including Blaise Compaoré. So there are a lot of things. It's more about geopolitics and also things. So and Sankara knew that, because at the end of the year, before he died, he wasn't even in a good. And with Gaddafi, we have documents. I was reading a document about the CIA notes about all the different discussion, including discussing with people. So we know. So Sankara was killed because he was revolutionary. First, he refused the country to be backing rebellion that's going to happen in Sierra Leone and Liberia. So we know that. So he refused. That's why he said that because when I tried to combine the fact, I think he knew that he's going to be killed when he was in the UN, when he said, if I refuse that any other African country will be used to fight against another country. Because that's what they were asking him. And they said you won't see me on the next conference, right? If I do this kind of thing, because he knew that people were planning for that. But the thing is, here from that, there was, as the chairman said, the new generation of Thomas Sankara. And we were called the new generation of Thomas Sankara because we were on the street. I went in every single village with our civil society movement. We mobilized people for more than 3 years. 2011, 12, and 13, we were mobilizing people until we unseated the president 2014. But what happened here is people were having a high expectation of change. But the problem with democracy is the one who won election is the one who's going to run the country. 2015, those who won election were former friends of Blaise Compaoré. It made people to be very pissed. Since then, they were pissed, they felt betrayed in their movement, revolution in 2014. Making when in 2015, 17, 2020, there was the first coup d'etat. There were two people very happy. First, they were happy that we want to change the ancient regime, Blaise Compaoré people. And some people were pissed because it was failing to tackle terrorism. So when Damiba came, they were expecting Damiba to also promote that, to understand the legacy of Thomas Sankara. And then second, when Damiba came, he took power. He said, look, you know what? Let me try to create a national consensus. The mistake Damiba did was to bring Thomas Blaise Compaoré from Ivory Coast to Burkina Faso, and people saw him. And people say, this guy wants to work again with those who killed Thomas Sankara. We refuse it. That was a weakness. And apart from it, so this is always the legacy of Thomas Sankara. So when the young boy took power, and then they were coming, I was following all the different things, details, even the call he made in the radio that I know. He realized one thing, that because there were discussions within the different captains to replace, to find who's going to be leading the revolution. And old people wanted to read it because he was said to be very young at that time. So, and then there were discussions. So the young people have to mobilize to say, we want this young boy. Why?
Yes.
Because they saw him in Sankara. So you have to use this narrative. So from then, he kind of being trapped in the Sankara body, right?
Yes.
To garner all the people because they want this idea. So meaning that Ibe, to gain power when they did the revolution in 2022, has to bring Sankara on board to mobilize people,
Absolutely.
and people were with him. And when he came, you can see it clearly. He shared commonalities with Thomas Sankara. One of the things naturally is to say, yeah, like now we need to be free and independent, right? We need to have our sovereignty, and this is something that Sankara always shared, right? He said we need to to bring the national kind of national economy to national, right? With nationalizations and also different projects within the country where you want to bring it. That's very important, right? So when I look at all the things, first of all, when he took power in September 2022, he found the country struggling with terrorists. So the first thing to do when people are struggling with terrorists, naturally, is to mobilize people to fight. That's the
Yes.
mobilization act.
Yes.
But now the issue there, where there's a discussion, is how it's used, right? So first of all, it could be used because mobilizing people to go fight, that was great. I've seen a lot of people who voluntarily wanted to join. That's very good. Now, the second problem also, where he decided at the moment, say, I want to deviate a little bit from it, and maybe Pan Africanists, some of them are happy with that, is to see that, for example, some people want freedom, right? They want to say, look, the way you're running the country, the way you want to, is not really what you want. And he said he doesn't want this kind of opposition of ideas. So either you encourage the revolution, or you are against the revolution. Even Sankara used it also before, right? So meaning that the Mobilization Act giving power to garner those who support the revolution, and those who don't support the revolution is going to be removed, right? They've been kidnapped. Sometimes they kidnap, they disappear. We don't know where they are going. They bring them to the battlefield. Some people are saying it's great because we need to protect our revolution. Some people say you don't have to do it because people have to be free. That depends on whoever the position. But still, the Mobilization Act in the principle is very good. And me, what I say to people there, I talk with the people around because I have a lot of friends close to them. I said, if I were you, I would even systematize. In South Korea, for example, what I said for 5-7 years, because there's threat of North Korea, they put like the 1 to 2 years military service where people are trained, right? The young generation are there. If you do that, you discipline, create the young generation of soldiers ready to fight for you. But when you take a journalist to bring him to the front to fight terrorists, it's like suicide. Doesn't make sense to me. But if you start opening this thing, training people like what Sankara did with the new young kid, and then like training the new CDR, you will have a generation after 2 to 4 years, all of them knows how to manipulate gun, what is the intelligence, all the thing, and you have a generation of young people ready to defend the revolution. But if you don't do that, people are going to not see good.
Okay.
Second thing, reform in the mining sector.
Yes.
People can't imagine, but the mining sector of Burkina Faso, export of mining represents around 70 to 80% of our exports. So the budget of, and then it's, and almost all of 50 to 56 or 60% of our export of gold is one country. We export to Switzerland.
Oh.
It means Switzerland represents 50% of our exports, not everything. So meaning that if tomorrow Switzerland closed, they said, I'm not going but to buy your gold anymore, Burkina Faso collapse. The budget export. So meaning that for more than many years, where the country is known to be gold-driven economy, it doesn't make sense for a country not to develop national industries, make reform within the country to be able to be strong enough to process gold up to the end to add value to it, right? So the idea is great, but at the same time, because the context is a huge interest. For less than that, they kill and they destroy. So if I were the president, I would say this is strategic, but I need to build within the country there's all the institutions, the knowledge at the university level, technical level, the reform doing business environment creates like kind of motivation for people to be willing to invest in this area locally, with people like Jamaica and the Caribbean to come with their knowledge and their skill to help the local economy to be strong and independent from the West. Because now, whatever Ibrahim is doing is still depending from the West. You'll be outside happy, yeah, the young boy is doing something. But I'm telling you, our economy depends on the European Union right now, I'm telling you. So if you really want to protect Ibrahim Traore revolution, you need to understand that what he's doing is economy still depend on the West and the imperialists. We want it or not, these are facts. That's why trying to not be dependent on the West is trying to go a little bit with Russia and Turkey, and China. But the problem with these regime that we can't trust them. We've seen what happened in Syria. So, and also we don't want to leave an imperialist to another imperialist. Me, I'm a pure Pan-Africanist. And my pure Pan-Africanist, I prefer to have network with Nigeria, Ghana to fight within the country. I prefer a Nigerian to come and be having business in Burkina Faso than anyone else, right? So what I'm saying, my pure Pan-Africanism is, if I have to say no to France, I don't want to say yes to China or Russia. I want to say yes to Ghana. I want to say yes to Nigeria. But for this purpose, we need to say sovereignty Africans should always be within the African context, right? And then opening to the rest of the world is important. So this is very important. But for another point that I was looking, international cooperation with ECOWAS,
Yes.
right?
Okay,
I'm going to
thank
end.
you. Yes. Thank you. Yes.
This part is very interesting because right now, mainly, we have, and for those who don't know, we have the ECOWAS, which is more economic and political, having 15 African countries. We have also the WAMU, which is the West African Monetary Union, have 8. So when the Burkina Faso is leaving the ECOWAS, not the WAMU. And the ECOWAS, why? So it meaning that the ECOWAS is more political. It means the issue here there is because there are contradictions within the ECOWAS. The ECOWAS is not consistent, and we've always fighting against the ECOWAS the way it is, the current way it is, because they forget that democracy is not autocracy, not only military, it's also constitutional, right? There are many countries like Ivory Coast, President, others, they are violating the constitution, and no one is punishing them for that.
That's right.
So when a coup happened here, they want to punish. So people are pissed. Even all of us, we say the way you function is not right. So what the government say, they say, no, we have to leave this because it doesn't make sense to punish Mali, to punish Niger and Burkina Faso, while Ivory Coast president can modify the constitution and other things. And that's true. Second thing, when the coup happened in Niger, and this was normal because they tried to fight Niger, but what they forget, there are people living together. And France, with Nicolas Sarkozy, was pushing, he was even ready to fight for it. That's also show that this institution is not free to operate, right? This is something showing that these institutions, even the African Union was built by Chinese funds. So we are not even able to do these kind of things for ourselves. So meaning these regional organizations are not working. Second, why we chase the French? Because also you have to understand the turning point with the war in the Russian war, right? Yes. Because I was analyzing the strategy with the G5 Sahel. It was a group of 5 countries, including Mauritania, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, and Chad. They decided to put money together to fight terrorism in the region. And then, but the problem is they said they didn't have a lot of money to fight. Okay, so they were looking for fundings. When the Russia attacked Ukraine, suddenly the world found money to fight, right, in Russia. And so they fight Russia, they find a lot of money for Ukraine. So West Africans say that we are dying. You do know that in Burkina Faso since 2023, 8,000 people from my people died from terrorists in my country. 8,000 people died in Burkina Faso since 2023 from terrorists. But when they want to buy guns, they say, no, you know what? We don't trust you, government. You don't want it. These are true. The fact are there. I have the data. But they found it on the other side. So it's natural for those people to say, it doesn't make sense for you to have a military base in Mali, in Niger. My people are dying. You can't have weapons. You know what? Leave this country. And me, if I was them, I would do the same thing. Absolutely. Now, the next move is strategy. Beyond these political things, people are living together. Malians are in Ghana, in Ivory Coast, and our people. So meaning that leaving this ECOWAS will have very important consequences. For example, if you look at the GDP of Burkina Faso, 5 to 7% of the remittance transfer comes from Ivory Coast, the neighbor country. 5% to 7% of the budget. It's a lot of money. Don't forget that because Ivory Coast is richer, they bring a lot of money to support people in the country, helping them to survive. So meaning it's very important to consider the neighborhood. And with the idea of Pan-Africanism, splitting has always been against our motto. We want to go together, not leaving. So me, if I were them, I would say AIS shouldn't be I'm leaving. We use it like in a kind of a way to put pressure on ECOWAS to make the reform we want. So we don't say we are leaving it, but we're leaving like that to use this new instrument as a pressure to push ECOWAS. Look, we want to come together. Now, people based on AS all over the world knows what is happening in ECOWAS. You are not
Can I
really
just
one.
ask just to pause there for a moment, because you've used another term. You are now referring to the Alliance of Sahel States. Is that right?
Exactly.
Explain what that means. It's just so that the people understand, because there's a lot of information packed in. I'll let you speak, but it's okay, it's fine. But that particular point is really important for the audience to understand. The Alliance of Sahel States. Who are they, and why is this important? Please go ahead.
Chairman, maybe Chairman want to do, or I continue?
Alain, yeah, Chairman, please. Just to begin to clarify what it means, the Alliance of Sahel States. Who are they, and why it is important?
I think it says it's constituted of 3 countries, which is Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. And these are the countries who saw themselves for being hostile by the African the CEDEAO, which is the
ECOWAS.
ECOWAS.
Okay.
So they decided actually to form an alliance and to work together. So it's been put into place now, and they want to coordinate and work together as a people. It's true that just being three countries is kind of against the others. It's going to be not going to be easy, but we already see that's the effort and the stand they have made is bringing other people to thinking of joining them. Like got the president of Ghana, the new president of Ghana, who
Yes. So I
actually
understand.
of
Yes.
joining the coalition. So a lot of people are actually thinking about it. So I'm hoping that in the future it might be an institution that can be reformed and to work together. Like he was saying as well, it's like the aim is not to separate from each other, but like marriage, if marriage doesn't work, so divorce come to that. So it wasn't working with the ECOWAS, so there had to be that divorce, so maybe they can make demands later on. But right now it wasn't working. They needed to part ways. So I actually, command the bravery they took for them to actually say, you know what, France have to go. We have to actually bring a new alliance, and I don't think it's new. I think it was there before. It's just reconfiguring it again.
Yes.
And I'm hoping that other states might join them soon. The aim is for all Africa to join hand together.
Absolutely.
But like we can say, it's like not everyone are awake at the same time. So some countries, it takes time for them to actually realize that, well, you know what, I need to leave the boat and join the movement. But these 3 countries actually have set up the movement, and I'm hoping that other countries will join the boat very soon.
Thank you so much for that. That's good clarification. I'm conscious of time, of course. You've been so engaging, I've forgotten about time, but I'm told I need to remind myself of time. Okay. And so, yeah, we interrupted you, I know. I'm just conscious of time, but I want to just move us forward, just down forward just a little bit. I want to now focus on why should us from the diaspora want to go to Burkina Faso. What has President Ibrahim Traore done during his short period of being president, being a young president who's displaying real dynamism and a thirst for improvement? What has he actually done that you can physically see that are actual improvements to the country that should attract someone like myself, my son, my daughters, indeed within my network? Why should they go for Burkina Faso? Please explain.
So
I'm going to start with you, TK, this time, because I've started with the chairman. I'm going to go with you this time. Okay.
Okay.
TK, yes, go ahead.
Okay. No, I mean, for example, first, the reason why you have to go to Burkina Faso before anything, first you have 20 million people in the country having a very, very, very proud of being African and trying
Yes.
from each in the 80s to show to the rest of the world that Black people have values. From Thomas Sankara to
Yes.
this guy,
Yes.
that is the first reason for you to go first to show respect to the country. We always kill their own son for Africa to feel proud. That's you have to. Sankara died for the world, right? Second, right now, when I was working, looking around, I was seeing the issue of tomato. I was seeing the different industries being put in place. But I think this is not really what I'm going to put in place. I want to put in place something regarding the young boy. He's a 34 years boy who took power in West Africa, where most of all the leaders, right, don't really want to take the risk of dying. Why? Because it's risky to just oppose the others. So if you are Jamaica and you look at this country and you see this is the guy, he just opened a tomato industry. It needs market, right? It
Yes.
needs a
Yes.
product to be known abroad. If you
Yes.
don't help to promote this, it won't survive because the economy is very small. He's trying to build a very interesting airport there to open it, but the airport is for trips, right? For
There
traveling,
you
right?
go.
You
There you go.
need to go to Burkina Faso. If you don't go there, if the traffic is not high, this project is going to die, right? So the best way, let's say forward about the idea of imperialism, let's be pragmatic. Go spend your money in this country. The country right now wants to raise money because they want to build a very interesting museum. I was checking it thanks to your discussion. It was a very interesting project. They want to build a very
Absolutely.
some
Did my research.
yeah, yeah, because I missed that. Yeah, that's great because I said that's good. I was checking. They have a very interesting idea of that, and I think they can even do better. And I think that will be great for you for this museum to provide resources for the young boy to make his revolution to be successful. You have to go and spend your money there. That's we being practical, right? If you really want, for example, for people in the villages, for example, I've seen in the project of our chairmen, they are trying to help the people to get villages. Our see Burkina Faso NGO in UK, they are trying to support like open having giving water because one of the key things for the country is to provide water to the people in the village. Because what's going
Yes.
to happen here is after by the end of 2025, if people in the village they don't have enough water, enough food, they will start to being vulnerable to all the kind of oppression things coming from outside. This revolution is
Yes.
going to be weakened. The best way
Yes.
for you is to see how you can support organizations to provide basic need to people in the country. As all revolutionary all over the world they do, they bring their skills, their money to revolution. If you believe that the young boy is doing a revolution, go help the revolution. Don't stay on the place. Say, yeah, the young boy is doing because I don't want. And I was talking to his older brother, Frank, right? Because we are from generation. I say, do our best that this man is going to be the last president who is going to do a coup in this country. It should be the one, and people should keep it in the memory. But for this reason, you need to go. Go help the revolution. If you know how you have innovative ideas, drones, technology, the country is struggling to fight terrorism. If you are anywhere in the diaspora, you have initiative in the country. They are trying to do whatever they can. You just need to take your stuff, take your bag, take your first flight, go to the airport of Ouagadougou, meet them, help them with their knowledge and your skill. I think this is the only way that all over the world, all Africans can help anywhere we see a small revolution to make it to operate. Otherwise, it's going to run out of money. The people are going to be desperate because terrorism is continuing. And one day, another crazy guy was going to wake up in the army, do a coup, and we sit there again doing conferences like, oh, our former Sankara, Thomas Sankara is not around. And I don't want this to happen again. So let's be pragmatic, beautiful people, are very honest, upright. Right now, there is even a kind of a process, a sue, right? Prosecution of someone who embezzled 3 billion of our money on national TV. And
Oh.
he's giving the name of all the people who were involved in the embezzlement. That's
Whoa.
very ongoing in the country.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
People
Openness
are
and
following
transparency. Yes.
exactly.
Absolutely.
But
Go ahead.
that's very important, right? But what I'm
Yes.
saying here is when you fight for big ideas, you are vulnerable for big power who have interest in your country, in the region.
Yes.
So first of all, we need to help him to design carefully more pragmatic policies for the project, for the future. We need to help to make great reform, to help to empower communities like our organization is doing, Diaspora is doing here, we need to bring all together. So diaspora all over the world, if you believe that there is a 30 years old boy in Burkina Faso trying to make change that's going to benefit Africa, take your baggage, buy your first flight, and go to Ouagadougou tomorrow.
Oh my
That's the
gosh,
only
well
thing.
said. Thank you. I'm going to go to the chairman, Alan, please. Give us a
Yeah,
good
I think,
reason why the diaspora, people like myself, should invest our resources in Burkina Faso. Why is there? Why is it? And it is true. It is a land of opportunity. Please explain.
yeah, I would say there is it's a land of opportunity, and actually the government at the moment actually turn their eyes to the diaspora because they say that rather than us going to the Western banks to borrow
Yeah,
money, that's gonna become a debt to us again. We rather be self-reliable and look onto our people. So there's a call
absolutely.
to the
Yes,
diaspora and to
yes.
all Burkinabes wherever they are to actually contribute the little they can contribute are welcome. And I think recently also there is a investment fund that is
Oh,
created. Actually, I got it in my phone. I can't remember the full name. So otherwise, I would
okay,
share this information. There's an investment fund that
okay.
I received from the embassy a few days ago about the Burkinabes who can invest their money into the country. So it's open also for all the diaspora who actually see the Burkina, the work they're doing, who want to actually put their hands into it, or who want to invest, who want to actually support the cause of the what the president doing. They're all welcome. You know, Burkina Faso, like you saw, is very rich in culture, very rich in history, and it's one of the country also that was not kind of uh, colonized, taken over by the missionary and the religious things. We still keep deep on tradition, and until today, like you're saying, it's actually modern government, but we still are. The emperor is still respected, the culture is still respected, all the kings are still in their places, and they are the ones who actually guarantee the unity between the people today.
Wonderful.
So it's
Beautifully said.
different ethnic in there. Beautiful
Yes.
country, so rich,
By the
and
way,
I'm
we
sure
have
that
good, right?
and good food as well.
Yeah, good food and good music.
And good music, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
very good
Yeah,
Um,
music.
yeah,
I'm not very conscious. I've not actually opened the line, but I'm not able to open the line today because we've overrun a little bit here.
yeah.
But I think, based upon the messages I've got here, and I've got a phone full of messages, I have to say that we'll get you back again, if, with your permission, in 1 month's time. And this time will be a shorter intro, but we'll open the phone lines. There are people who want to interact with you. But between now and then, with your permission, Chairman, I will put up your contact details on the screen. Okay, and I'll just read it out. There you go. So there you are. So we have the website address, which is it's www.bfcuk.co.uk, and the
Yeah.
email address. That's right. Yep. And the email address is info@bfcuk.co.uk. And I know I've been on the website, and those who wish to give donations can give donations via the website. That's correct, Chairman. That's right.
That's correct. Yeah, like I was saying, I'm going to Burkina in January
Okay.
because the community of Burkinabes in this country have raised some money to go and support the cause in Burkina Faso.
Good.
So
Good.
I will taking that money actually to give to in Burkina Faso. So anyone who still willing to do, there is a GoFundMe on the website. Uh, your donation are welcome, and everything will be actually transparent because we have to show the community where the money going.
Brilliant, brilliant. I'm going to keep your contact details on the screen for a little longer for those who are slow to read and so on. I want to make sure they understand this is really important. I have to say, I'll now take it off the screen. I have to say, as I listen to you both, what you both have provided is a real clarity as to what actually happened on the continent. Because I'm sure you both realize that those of us in diaspora have a view, so, well, how could this happen? Why is it that we were not sought after, trying to bring back the children back to the motherland, Well, they must have, we must have been solved. There must have been collaboration, I hit my head because it's so stupid, I hit my head with such stupidity. We listen to that negative propaganda. Okay. And what you've been able to do is to turn it up on its head. And what you've concluded by saying is that the culture is intact.
Still intact.
Still intact. Go ahead. Please go ahead. Continue. Please, Chairman, explain, why is the culture still intact? How can you say that with authority, please?
The culture is still intact because even when you look at Burkina Faso history, it's one of the countries that actually managed to resist the Islamic conquest. The missionary who come there, we resisted all of them. So all this, today there is Christian, there is Muslim, but this was embraced by the people. It wasn't imposed by the people. While you look at countries like Mali and other different countries, it was imposed. It was conquered by the Islamists, and they imposed their culture. So they destroyed everything and they imposed a new culture and a new system. While the Mogo, as we call it, managed to resist all this thing. So it came through by people just embracing it because they read about it and stuff like this. It wasn't imposed onto them. So we managed to keep the culture. We managed to keep the tradition. And even in Burkina, even if one is Christian or Muslim, they still know that they still have to abide to the culture.
Yes.
I have to add something. That's a joke we used to do.
Yeah.
They said there are 7% of Muslim, 25% of Christian, but at the end of the day, we have 100% of animists.
Well said. Yeah. All right. I'm going to conclude there because we've run over time, but I hadn't realized I was totally engaged with you. I had totally engaged. And with your permission, when you return, Chairman, we will, if you don't mind, we'll do this again, a shorter intro, but we provide an opportunity for those who want to directly speak to you directly. Because I can see that you've now opened up a can of, I'm not about to say worm, but of inspirational spirits. And those spirits of our ancestors who have come in you today to communicate Africa is open. We want the children to return. And when you return, we will be together. And once we are together, we are united. We're stronger. Praise be, Chairman. Praise be. That's the last word from him. We're stronger. He said it. It's clear. Chairman, sorry. Say it again. Say it louder. Because they need to hear it. They need to believe it. Remember,
united, we are much stronger. And united, we should overcome all things with.
Praise be.
So we got to stay united.
Yes. And also we have no choice, and then right. Because I decided to meet the Irish diaspora because I've been reading about what happened, because Glasgow is where the Irish diaspora stayed a lot and how they contributed to make the peace in Northern Ireland. And I said, when I look at the other diaspora, how they organize themselves to protect and defend the mainland, I think we as Black people, we are not doing this. We are not doing even half of it. So I think it's an opportunity for us to say, look, no matter what is happening, as long as I'm Black, you are seen as an African. You want it or not, you're African. Whatever, if you feel discriminated in the US because you're Black, it's because you're African. So what I'm saying here is, me being African from origin, mother stuff, and you being from the diaspora, we say something that bring us together is our skin color and our origin, right? So when we have it in mind, first of all, we need to be together. Second, because you've never been in Africa, so most of the time you rely on what people say about what Africa is. I received a friend who came from the Caribbean, And then he was in the airport. That's the just thing that I'm going to tell people who want to come and they're afraid. He was in the hotel. And I said, you know what? I'm not a rich guy, but I can receive you in my house. That's what Africans do. They will just take you home. If you want to eat the same thing I eat, drink the same drink I drink, it's okay. He came home. The guy he decided even asked to initiate himself, like want to do the initiation. And I said, bro, go slowly. You just arrived. But he was very excited by the food, by the people. It's like, it's amazing. Even me, after staying more than 8 years abroad, when I go back in Africa, there is this thing that is totally different. I've been in Uganda, but I want to go again. Africa has something you can't get anywhere. It's so exciting. So me, even now, talking about Africa, I even want to go again. So what I'm saying here is, just go. When you go to Africa, don't try to stand like, I'm coming from abroad, I'm from Caribbean, so I am coming with a certain thing. If you do like that, people will say, oh, this is another white man in a black body, like what Frantz Fanon wrote. But if you go, I'm an African going to see my people, you will never be willing to leave this continent. It's the best continent ever, because you have the great values the world never had.
And to conclude, there's an old man who once told me, he said, Africa have two brains, one brain at home and one brain abroad. And when the two brains combine, will be the liberation of our continent. And I hope the two brains will combine, collaborate, and work together to free Mother Africa. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. Thank you, Peter. That has been a great pleasure. I want to thank you both for sharing that knowledge with us, sharing your not only academic knowledge, this is intimate information, because you've lived it, you feel it, you know it. We want to thank you all. Thank you for all the work you've done, all the work that will happen. We want you to extend to President Ibrahim Traore best wishes. And we will come and join him. We will come and join him. Thank you. Take care, both of you. And we look forward to the next time. Blessing to you. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Wow. Isn't that something, huh? Whew. 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 Oh, I feel tingled all over my body. This is truly the de-brainwashing station, you know? I'm not transmitting on galaxyafui.net at the moment, and I lament that experience, okay? But de-brainwashing is what we're about, is what we're about. This is the Motivator Show. This is where we translate our words into action, and where success is ours for the taking. Yes, yes. You not feel empowered after hearing that information? This is not theory. This is not some academic exercise. This was actual experiences. Actual experiences. This is now. This is present day. This is not in the past or the future. This is present day. You can make the difference. You can make a difference. And if you are particularly a young person in the height of your career, Africa is calling you. Africa is calling you. I'm assuring you, Africa is calling you. And what we must do now as elders is enable the young to flourish. Give them all your resources so they can develop themselves, have all the skills, all the experiences, so they can use it to best effect. Invest in the young. We must invest in President Ibrahim Traore. He's 36 now, I believe, around 36. A young man. Oh gosh, long may we invest in such people. Long may we do so. But as I discuss this, I was thinking about that other country that I mentioned regularly on this show, of course, and that's Nigeria, There are lessons there for Nigeria, democracy, how to make democracy work, integrity in public life, how to make that work, appreciating cultures in one nation might be diverse, but it's appreciation of those cultures. There's lessons there for us all, okay? There's lessons for us. And there's one organization in Nigeria that I'm familiar with, in fact, two, both NANAS and IBOP. Okay, both organizations seek to achieve peace, so you can spread prosperity to all Nigerians, whether it be a part of that state of Nigeria or in separate related states to make up Nigeria. So I want to commend the work of our people from Burkina Faso. I want to commend the work of people right across the African continent and the Caribbean who are dedicated to upholding and countering the pernicious negative propaganda that we've been exposed to, so that we can rise above it and be strong once more and have that pride, have that pride. I've got to go. Before I leave you, I want to just remind you, help us out. If you haven't subscribed, it doesn't cost you a penny. Subscribe. It helps the YouTube algorithm to recommend this podcast to others. There are tens of millions of YouTube subscribers who've not seen this podcast. Please, that's a single action can enable the message, the word to get out there. Okay? But if you have been moved by what you've been said today, and you do feel you're able to contribute, make contact, reach out to them. Their website address, it's bfcuk.co.uk. The email address is info@bfcuk.co.uk. That is Britain's Burkina Faso community. And of course, the chairman was present, Wendpayangde Alain Rouamba. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I'm overjoyed by that interview. We will have them back again, as I said. We have a shorter intro, but this time it will be truly an interactive show. Today's show is really to impart information, so you fully understand what has happened. Before this show concludes, I will play the intro video, which has the information shared today, but even more information is contained in the info video. And I want you, it's important to study the intro video. It has taken a few months to prepare it, okay, you'll be evident, but the information is significant, profound, and will motivate you, move you into action, and therefore honor the principle, the cornerstone of why these shows, these podcasts are being shared with you at least once each Saturday. It is anticipated that this podcast will be transmitted more frequently and also create new channels on YouTube. Watch this space for 2025. There are great events on the horizons, positive events on the horizons. And remember, it's important for you to dare to hope. And together, we will all make the difference. But if in doubt, ask questions. Never suffer alone. I say again, never suffer alone. I'm going to put up one more quote from another great African man. Let me put it up on the screen. And there you are. And this show, in some ways, very much epitomizes it. Remember Samora Michel. Of all the things we have done, the most important, the one that history will record as the principal contribution of our generation, is that we understand how to turn armed struggle into a revolution. That we realized that it was essential to create a new mentality to build a new society. And that is exactly what's happening in Burkina Faso. A new society, a renaissance, if you like, a phoenix is rising, if you like, because they had society, had high civilization prior to the invasion and the desecration of their land. Okay? Powerful words. But I will just, before I leave, is also share with you the word of Sankara himself. Okay, and I think it's appropriate to quote it because he was quite, to use a term, he displayed a courage that is often not found often, I have to say, not found often. So here's his words. He said this: imperialism is a system of exploitation that occurs not only in the brutal form of those who come with guns to conquer territory. Imperialism often occurs in more subtle forms. A loan, the World Bank, IMF, food aid, those multinational charities, which 95% of your donation goes into their administration, possibly 5% gets to the people. And of course, blackmail, typically corporate blackmails of politicians or of the economies. Yeah, you've seen a lot of that right across Africa. And he went on to say, we are fighting this system that allows a handful of men on earth to rule all of humanity. That's it. Those are his words. And what Sankara represents, of course, that Thomas Sankara represents, is the way forward. I can relate this, of course, through Marcus Garvey, okay, or Michael Manley as being key reference point that I can immediately reference. Okay, and we'll do shows on Marcus Garvey and Michael Manley in 2025, and truly it will be an inspirational experience. But this is for you young people, for you mums and dads, for you elders, that the future is ours. Success is ours for the taking. There are many who try to suggest to you otherwise, but I'm assuring you that is indeed the case. But I will now conclude by saying this. If you found the information today moving, inspirational, don't keep it to yourself. Pass on links to this show to your networks, to your wider communities, so they can also receive the same message. And I'm going to say to you now, thank you. Thank you for your attention, and thank you for staying with us throughout this time. I know it's been slightly longer than usual, but it was necessary because the words, the information is so crucial. And if you haven't subscribed and you're on YouTube, please just subscribe. It helps us out. It allows us to grow the channel. So I'll now hand over to the intro video. If you didn't watch it at the beginning, it's important that you watch it now. Don't go away. Watch this space. And if you're not going to watch it now, go back and watch the recording on YouTube or indeed Facebook, but most certainly on YouTube. And together we will make the difference. So, until the next time, I remain Demotivators Show, the internet's most inspirational podcast. Every Saturday morning from 8 to 10 a.m. Burkina Faso, land of the incorruptible men. By the 11th century, the descendants of the Quadrado established a centralized state that became known as the Mossi Kingdoms. These kingdoms played a significant role in shaping the region's history and politics. The most prominent Mossi kingdom include Ouagadougou, the political and spiritual center of the Mossi culture. Its rulers are known as the Mogonaba, who still hold symbolic power today. Yatanga, known for its military strength and interaction with neighboring empires like the Songhai and Mali empires. Tendogo, the oldest Mossi kingdom, believed to have been established by Ouagadougou himself. Burkina Faso, land of the incorruptible men. Mogonaba, king of the Mossi. Mossi represents 40% of the population of Burkina Faso, 6.2 million Mercambes. Burkina Faso's diverse ethnic groups contribute to a vibrant cultural landscape, deeply rooted in traditions. Here's a deeper dive into their traditions and history. Many Mercambes communities contribute a strong connection to traditional African spirituality, even alongside Islam and Christianity. Traditional practices centered on ancestral worship, paying respect to ancestors through rituals, offerings, and ceremonies. Nature and spirits, belief in natural spirits and the power of sacred objects. Community ceremonies, life events like births, marriages, and funerals are celebrated with elaborate rituals and dances and sacrifices. Festivals and ceremonies include Festima, the International Mask Festival, held in Dogoudou, showcasing traditional mask and dances, a celebration of cultural heritage and artistry. Nabaska Mossi Festival honors chiefs and unite Mossi communities. Pan-African Film Festival celebrates African cinema and is one of the largest cultural events in Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso, land of the incorruptible men. President Thomas Sankara, from 1982 to 1987. The country of Upper Volta changed its name to Burkina Faso on August 4, 1984. The name change was part of a broader transformation initiated by the revolutionary government of Captain Thomas Sankara, who came to power in a coup in 1983. The name Upper Volta was a colonial construct given by the French, referring to the country's location along the upper reaches of the Volta River system, Black, White, and Red Volta. Sankara wanted to reject the colonial legacy and promote a name that reflected the country's unique identity and aspiration. The new name was chosen to represent all ethnic groups in the country, fostering unity and pride amongst the diverse population. The name Burkina Faso combined words from two major languages. Burkina from the Maori, meaning honest or upright. Faso from the Jula, meaning fatherland or homeland. Together it translates to a land of upright people, symbolizing integrity, dignity, and revolutionary values Sankofa sought to instill in the minds of the people. Burkina Faso, land of the incorruptible men. President Thomas Sankara. He was president from 1983 until his assassination in 1987 in a coup organized by Blaise Compaoré, who says one reason for the coup was Sankara had jeopardized foreign relations with former colonial power France and neighboring Ivory Coast. He reversed Sankara's previous economic policies. Thomas Sankara's government prioritized anti-corruption, transparency, and social justice, reducing government officials' salaries, selling luxury cars, and implementing austerity measures to redirect resources towards welfare. He promoted integrity, humility, and service within public office. Sankara implemented radical land reforms, redistributing land to peasants, especially women, to boost agricultural productivity, promote rural development, and reduce Burkina Faso's dependence on foreign aid, aiming for self-sufficiency in food production. Sankara championed women's rights by appointing women to key positions, promoting education, workforce participation, and political leadership. He outlawed female genital mutilations and child marriage, emphasizing that women's liberation was central to the revolution. Burkina Faso, land of the incorruptible men. President Thomas Sankara. He was president from 1983 until his assassination in 1987 in a coup organized by Blaise Compaoré, who said one reason for the coup was Sankara had jeopardized foreign relations with former colonial power France and neighboring Ivory Coast. He reversed Sankara's previous economic policies. Thomas Sankara promoted food self-sufficiency by redistributing land to peasants, modernizing agriculture, encouraging local production, reducing Burkina Faso's reliance on foreign aid and import, improved literacy through mass campaigns, prioritized public health and vaccination drive, eradicating diseases like polio and measles, and expanded healthcare access nationwide. He tackled desertification by initiating large-scale reforestation programs, planting over 10 million trees to address Burkina Faso's ecological challenges. Burkina Faso, land of the incorruptible man. President Thomas Sankara. He was president from 1983 until his assassination in 1987 in a coup organized by Blaise Compaoré, who said one reason for the coup was Sankara had jeopardized foreign relations with former colonial power France and neighboring Ivory Coast. He reversed Sankara's previous economic policies. Thomas Sankara opposed imperialism, championed African unity and economic independence, rejected conditional foreign aid, and advocated for cancelling Africa's debt to international creditors. He reformed the military into a disciplined, development-focused force and promoted civil responsibility through community-led projects like the road construction, public sanitation, and agricultural support. Thomas Sankara was a strong proponent of African unity and solidarity, advocating for a continent-wide push against exploitation and for self-determination. Burkina Faso, land of the incorruptible man. President Thomas Sankara. He was president from 1983 until his assassination in 1987 in a coup organized by Blaise Compaoré, who said one reason for the coup was Sankara had jeopardized foreign relations with former colonial power France and neighboring Ivory Coast. He reversed Sankara's previous economic policies. President Ibrahim Traore. In 2022, 2 military coups in 1 year. In January, a coup led by Lieutenant Colonel Dambier seized power and deposed President Cabrera. In September of that year, he is ousted by Captain Ibrahim Traore, who said the second coup was necessary because Dambier was unable to deal with the Islamist insurgency. Ibrahim Traore is now the world's youngest head of state. Burkina Faso, land of the incorruptible man. African proverb. If we stand tall, it is because we stand on the shoulders of many ancestors. This proverb teaches us the importance of studying the past to derive lessons from it for purpose of shaping our future. It reminds us that we are who we are because of those who have come before us. President Ibrahim Traore, president from 2022 to present day. Burkina Faso, land of the incorruptible man. President Ibrahim Traore. Justice, equality, self-determination. Burkina Faso, land of the incorruptible man. President Ibrahim Traore. In 2022, 2 military coups in 1 year. In January, the coup led by Lieutenant Colonel Namimba seized power and deposed President Traore. In September of that year, he was ousted by Captain Ibrahim Traore, who said the second coup was necessary because Namibia was unable to deal with the Islamist insurgency. He is now the world's youngest head of state. Initiative undertaken: security and anti-terrorism effort, military mobilization. Traore declared a general mobilization to combat insurgent groups, aiming to reclaim rebel-held territories and enhance national security. Foreign policy and international relations. Traore expelled French forces, pursued win-win partnership with nations like Turkey and Russia, and supported regional integration through a proposed federation with Mali and Guinea to enhance military-led cooperation. Political developments. Traore's presidency, as extended by 5 years in 2024 through national consultation and transitional charter, was adopted, formalizing his role and the government structure during the transitional period. Burkina Faso, land of the incorruptible man. President Ibrahim Traore. Justice, equality, self-determination. Initiatives undertaken. Reason for leaving ECOWAS. Ibrahim Traore's administration prioritized greater autonomy, distancing itself from traditional Western powers and international organizations like ECOWAS, which is viewed as influenced by foreign interests, particularly those of France. Burkina Faso left ECOWAS after 2022 coup due to tensions over sanctions and the bloc's interventionist stance. Traore rejected external influence, prioritizing autonomy and forming an alliance of Sahel states for regional cooperation. The formation of the Alliance of Sahel States under Traore's leadership, Burkina Faso's Mali and Niger formed the Alliance of Sahel States in 2024 to strengthen military, economic ties, promoting regional self-reliance and collective security. Burkina Faso, land of the incorruptible man. Initiatives undertaken. Energy infrastructure. Under Traore's leadership, a 7.5 megawatt thermal power plant were built in the Fada de Goma, and 40 communities and 90 villages were electrified. Additionally, 25,000 solar lamps were distributed to 400 schools to support education. Burkina Faso approved its first gold refinery, inaugurated a mine tailing treatment plant, and suspended export permits for small-scale gold production to combat illicit trade and formalize the artisanal gold sector under Traore's leadership. Solar lamp distributions. Deployment of 25,000 solar lamps in 400 schools has facilitated education in off-grid areas. Justice, equality, self-determination. Ouagadougou Airport, a 420 million redevelopment, will generate 5,000 new jobs for the Burkina Faso people. The new terminal will attract 1.5 million passengers per year. Justice, equality, self-determination. The country's first gold refinery. Annual refining capacity of 150 tons. Is expected to create 100 direct jobs and over 5,000 indirect jobs. The country's move towards local processing of gold. Justice, equality, self-determination. Investing in road construction. 343 kilometers of new highway in 2024. Roads facilitate regional trade and neighboring countries' road links to the capital of Ouagadougou and the Gibraltar region, improvement to the Kaya Highway and the Ouagadougou-Zenaria Highway. Justice, equality, self-determination. The Zulu solar power plant boasts an impressive capacity of 33 megawatts. These initiatives are a step towards reducing reliance on fossil fuels, mitigating climate change, and fostering sustainable economic growth. Justice, equality, self-determination. The Ouagadougou high-speed train project will link the capital of Burkina Faso and the Ivory Coast over a distance of 1,150 kilometers. It will reduce the travel time from 36 hours to 6 hours and transport more than 5 million passengers and 10 million tons of goods per year. It will promote regional integration, trade, tourism, and sustainable development. Justice, equality, self-determination. Agricultural transformation programs aim to revolutionize the agricultural industry. The program is focused on increasing agricultural production, improving food security, and creating jobs in the sector. It is a comprehensive plan that includes providing farmers with access to improved seed and fertilizer, offering training and technical assistance, and enhancing the marketing of agricultural products. Justice, equality, self-determination. The Museum of Civilization aims to enhance the historical and artistic heritage of Burkina Faso. It is an ambitious project. It will be built on the land of 10 acres in the Sengola district near the international airport. It would include a 12,000 square meter main building, which will house exhibition rooms, educational spaces, reserves, laboratories, and auditorium. It will be a place of memory, dialogue, and creation, which will highlight the diversity, richness of the cultures of Burkina Faso. Ibrahim Traore is president of Burkina Faso, land of incorruptible men. Watch Demotivatorshow interview Britain's Burkina Faso community leader, Mr. Wendpayangde Alain Rouamba. Demotivatorshow. Success is ours for the taking. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's free. Press the like button and don't forget to leave a comment. Follow us on Facebook. Give us the thumbs up and share with your family and friends. We are also on Instagram and TikTok. Follow us there too.